it is so good to be on this live with you, Mr. Nick and Mrs. Shalicia. I said that right?
Yes, that's right.
That's right. All my life, people was calling me Keely or Kyle. So names are important. And so man, we're just so grateful to have you guys on with us. It's definitely been a long time coming. We should have been did this.
Yeah.
Y'all are doing some fantastic work. And got an incredible story to share with our audience. And we want to give y'all at liberty today. And I'm glad to be joined with my bride. My life partner. But yeah, we're definitely glad to have you guys. And we want you guys to just really share with the people who you guys are. Let people know a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I am Nicholas McFarland. This is my wife, Shalicia McFarland. Obviously, we got the same last name. Basically, I started the company, and by default, she's like with that company with me in 2018, called F.O.F, Financial Coaching LLC. And what we do is help people to not only get out of debt, but to meet their financial goals. So whatever those goals may be, we really strive to try and make sure that they meet it. And that kind of happened. With the background to that was we ourselves, we bought a house. Well, we got married in 2015. We had a crazy 2015. We got married in 2015. We ended up getting a house in 2015, which I probably should have listened to my wife, and we probably shouldn't have got it, but God is good. You're right, God is good. But we got it. I was really rushing, wanting to get into a house. She was more like, hey, let's just get an apartment and kind of, let's learn each other.
Enjoy the newlywed
life. Right. And I was more like, nah, we gonna keep it pushing.
Ambitious.
Right, And so when we did that, a couple of things happened. So we got our house, and we was within our house for like the first year. We was just normal, paying. We didn't have like a bunch of student loan debt. I didn't really have any debt. I don't think she had any debt either. We got married, we got married a little bit later. So we was like, I was 28, you were 27. So we were a little bit, I guess, it could be early for some people, right? Time is relative, right? Time is relative. And so that first year, the only debt we really had was our house. That first year, we didn't really didn't think about it too much. And so what happened was I was looking to get a rental property. So I was like, look, we got this going.
Right. So y'all just got married.
Yeah.
You like, how long?
Tell me about it.
Right. Wait. So how long after you got married did you get the house?
Oh, wow. Okay. So we got to really go into the story. Okay. So basically, I proposed in 2014. And then on my job that I had, I found out I had a field assignment in 2015. Right. So I didn't want to go out in Michigan. I didn't want to go out there without having her with me. So we actually got married twice. So we got married in February in 2015. We went to Michigan, stayed there for like 4 months, came back and had our wedding in August. So we kind of got married 2 times, right? And so once we got married in August of 15, we got the house in October 2015. And from that point, it was like at least probably that next year, I was already looking to get a rental property like that quick already. And right. And so, when you get married, it's a lot of things you got to learn, even if you've been with somebody a long time. Once you get married, I don't know what it is, but it just be like, oh, like, so you want to put this here and I want to put it here, and it's going to be like a little like, oh, what?
So, you squeeze your toothpaste in the middle.
Right.
Right.
It's a lot of learning.
It's a lot. Well, I think my blender is better than your blender.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? My mama gave me my blender. Why you trying to take my family heritage from me? You know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness.
Just a blender. You know what I mean? So you get into a lot of that because you're trying to become one, but it's a lot of stress to put on at the beginning of a marriage like that, which I didn't know. I didn't know. And I should have listened, but that's what happens sometimes. So what was happening was I was like, all right, so we already got this mortgage out for our house. Let's go ahead and get a rental property. And what happened was we were, with the real estate agent, we were looking to get these rentals, and we were looking to do it. And it was like, okay. And so this time was about the summer. And so I was like, you know what? I haven't even prayed about this. I haven't talked to Jesus, nothing like that. So, let me at the least I could do is start praying about this.
Yep.
And so, mind you, when we got our house, we got some renovations done on our house, which were, it was an interesting, we had an interesting experience, right?
Yeah.
Right, we had an interesting experience with some contractors and stuff like that. And so with getting the rental, it was like, all right, well, let's do it. Well, I didn't realize, because I've been living in an apartment for them years. I've been in Kansas City area, and she had just got her apartment too, and then, obviously moved into the house. Like, I didn't realize you still gotta rake leaves. You still gotta mow the grass. You still gotta I was like, oh man,
like responsibilities.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it took me back when I was 16. Like, oh man, I forgot I haven't done this stuff in such a long time. Like, I gotta take care of the house itself. You gotta have money to take care of stuff when they break down and all that.
And I'm looking at y'all.
Right. And so I was like, man, I'm looking to get a rental. And so I started praying about it, and pretty much I asked myself why, and I was talking to God, and he was kind of like, well, you can hardly take care of your house. How you gonna take care of another house too, and the house that you have? So I was like, man, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. And then the other thing was, I was like, okay, so I want to be more financially secure. So that was the reason why I want to get the rental. I was like, we get this cash flow coming in, be more financially secure. But I kept asking myself why. And I got to the point to, well, I don't want to be, in order to be more financially secure, how can I be in debt? How can I go into debt to be more financially secure when I'm going to owe more people? It wasn't registered, logically in my mind, it didn't make sense. So I was like, okay, that doesn't make sense. So then it was July of 16, our power went out. So our power went out, and I was listening to the Dave Ramsey show, and we saw this lady, she went on there to do a debt-free screen. And she made $30,000 a year, and she paid off her house. And it was like, wait a minute, what? And she was just talking about her story, and it was like, okay, we made more than that at the time. And it was like, dang, we can't even do it. So I started researching a little bit, and I looked into our mortgage, and I looked in that first year, we paid $90 on the principal, and the rest was interest. And I was like, oh no. I said, oh no, you know what? Now I can add a little bit. I can add, and I was just like,
not making sense.
And so once that happened, I said, all right, man, we gotta get rid of this. So I said, we don't got no other debts. We're gonna do what we gotta do. We're gonna try and get this paid off. I'll put together a plan for 3 years. It's gonna take us 3 years. I said, all right, if we do this for 3 years, we can get this thing knocked out. I gave it to her, and what was your response, honey?
I was not on board.
I did not agree.
Nope.
And let me tell you why. Because I thought everybody has a car payments, house payments. It was natural. It wasn't abnormal to have a house payment. And so with that logic, I was just like, why do we we got married, we got this house, we still trying to learn each other, and it was a lot going on. And I was just like,
I'm trying to live a little bit.
I don't want no part.
Right.
Yeah. But God is amazing, and literally with him, praying for me and me praying, I know he's not telling me nothing wrong.
Yeah.
God helped me to get on board with this, because it was hard. It was really hard to get on board and, connect in that area. But God's grace, he touched my heart and was like, come on, we can do this.
I like what you prayed for, though. I like what you prayed for. You prayed for you to get on board.
Yeah.
You pray against him God, we don't need to be doing that's important. As Black men, we need our life partner to be side by side with us in any decision that we make. But more specifically, in this case, Nick really needed you to be on board to help with that financial journey, right? Because he was looking long term. You thinking about just trying to live right now. We just got married, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So that's important, and that we can't just glaze over that. Continue on. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
And speaking of glazing, so my wife is very sweet. She's very nice.
Well,
so she said the nice version. Okay, I'm gonna give y'all the real version. So when she wasn't on board, I wasn't happy. I was upset about that. And so I tried tough love. I tried mean love. I tried to be nice. I tried every single thing to get her on board, I'll be like, logically, it all makes sense. But my wife is a feeler. You know, she's an artsy person. I'm more like a logical. I'm like, everything for me, like, this makes sense. Boom, we gonna do it. I don't see why we gonna execute. And she more like, well, are you sure? Are you
I
sure?
know.
I be like, come on, man. Why we got to slow down? Like, why we moving? And so that was tension between us. Like, honestly, it was like real tension between us. And so when she said she prayed to be on board, it's funny because I was praying. So I stopped talking to her about it in general because nothing I was doing was working. I just started praying about it. And I just left. I said, God, you're going to have to get us through this because we had an impasse. We had a real impasse, you know. And then one day I came home from work and she was up there like, yeah, we can do it. We can get out of debt. Like, she came up with the plan. I'm like, look, that's when, and that's when I learned that pride is not going to help you get through anything, because I learned that day was like,
people in the back.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I learned that day, if she think it's her idea, whatever, as long as we get to point Z that we trying to get to, as long as the goal is the same, whatever, she could take all the credit. I don't even care, as long as we get there. But it could have been easy for me to be like, you didn't come up with that. I'm the one who I want the credit. But I learned right then, like, you know, pride is not gonna help us make it through no marriage. I can tell you that. I learned that for real.
That's good,
but
man. That's
also, but also, like, I was listening to Dave Ramsey, the Debt-Free Screens as well, and that was like more so the encouragement, you know, along with Jesus, to be able to do it. It's like, okay, I see the point, we can do it, you know.
So go ahead, baby.
I was just gonna ask, like, the plan that he showed you initially, why were you so against it? Was it like we have to stick to this very strict plan and we don't have extra to, like, even go out for pizza, you know, like, how tight was it where you were like, no?
Yeah, it was tight. It was just that we had done so much, like, just in a short amount of time. I wanted to have that. Actually, like, during COVID, it's kind of crazy because the time that we have together now is what I was desiring back then. And we couldn't really get it because it was like he's on a different wavelength, fast pace, like, let's get it going, you know, building wealth. And me, I'm just like, let's just have a little fun. We just enjoy, like, you know. But so that was the main reason, not so much. But I will say also, like, for real, like, that, to your point, that being on the budget like that, it was a little challenging because it was like I felt like constricted a little bit, like we couldn't do very much, but that wasn't the case. Like, hindsight,
that's funny. It's funny.
I want to go back to something though, like,
go ahead.
Faith, right? Like, faith come by hearing the word, right?
Right.
So and really walking by, you know, really just walking and, like, believing that it's going to be done. So Nick, you, essentially, like, you saw it, you know, or believed it was going to happen before she did. Right. And you was praying, you was trying to convince her in all the ways, all the creative ways that you thought would work. It didn't work. Right. And then she came to you in her little bubble and she said, got it. You know what I'm saying? Right. But she had to hear it. She had to feel it. She had to get that thing, right? Exactly. And now, so it was one, you know what I'm saying, you was doing it, and then she came aboard. They say, well, one or two or together, right, is what? Yeah. One or two agree, right? Yep. You can agree that the vision can't come to pass. And look, now you guys are on board. Like, that's important. Like, you got to fill yourself up, you know what I'm saying? Whether that's, you know, with the word, or, you know, whatever it is, you got to put something in you, because that helps, you know what I'm saying, really gather your thoughts and your decision making. And it's important. I just don't want to skip over that, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm glad to hear that you were doing that on your own and not just relying on Nick to fill you in that way, because you had to get that, you had to get to that point on your own.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, it's important to have that relationship, you know, with God. For me, you know, I feel like it's important to have that individual relationship, and that together, you know, will hopefully align and make things work. Yeah.
Yep. That's good. That's a good word right there. That's a good word right there.
Oh my goodness.
That's a good word right there.
So Mr. McStallion, you put together a 3-year plan.
Yes, I did.
It took wifey a little bit to get on board, but then she was like, hey, guess what?
Yes.
Idea. No, I don't know how she said it, but she was like, okay, you was on to something. I'm game, let's do this.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then we started, and it's funny because, like I said, we didn't have any other debt. I had done some probably the dumbest thing I've done financially is I bought a car, and I put like a bunch of money down. I paid off the car in like a year and a half, but this is before I met her and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't really have any debt. I just should say really, I didn't have any debt. She didn't have any. We only had this house, and so we started moving with the plan. And it was interesting because our budget was tight, but it wasn't so tight. We could still do like,
Right.
you know, we go out to eat. You know, we have that in the budget. And my wife is already, she saves money anyway. Like, I could be like, all right, honey, here's $1 million. I'm going to be gone for 3 years. I come back, she will have $1 million. It won't be more, it won't be less. She will have that $1 million. Like, that's her personality. You know what I mean? So
I thought you were going to she do like Gucci wife do. She going to
no. she'll make sure she's just gonna
I know,
be like,
hold
look,
on to it.
I got what you gave me. Okay, I didn't do more.
Right.
I didn't want to risk it, but I didn't spend it. So
Right.
you know, and so that's just how it works. So as we were moving through it, I just had things in there to increase things every year. And so what started happening, it was weird. It was like as we were doing it, it's like it seemed like at the end of every month, by God's grace, it was like more money just started popping up. It wasn't like we had different jobs, nothing like that. Just more money started popping up. It just seemed to increase, you know, every month of what we could save. And so we ended up getting that 3-year plan done in about 18, 19 months. So we finished in about 18 months.
Wait,
And
your house?
yes, we paid off the house. Yes. But another thing we did,
18 months?
it took us 18, 19, it was 18 or 19, I think it was 18 months, 18 months, yeah. So we started in, what was it, August of 2016? And I think we ended in March, it was March 30th of 2018 is when we ended. I remember that date because we went up to the bank, we just paid, it was a good day. Yeah, it was a really good
Great day.
Deal,
Great
right?
day.
Like, just
Tell people how it felt.
This is how it felt. So it was hard for it to like really hit me until I went outside the next day. I cut my grass, and then I looked after I cut the grass like wow, this is the closest to my grass that I've ever had. Like that just hit me like wow, like but obviously it's all God's, but that was like the closest to like this is my grass, like this is my grass, like wow, like this is I cut my actual grass. Like it was just like wow. So that's when it really hit me. It felt so good because it was like this is not something that I see a lot of people that look like us do. You know what I'm saying? This is something that people will kind of be like, you always got to have a mortgage, you always got to have a payment. So it was like against all those things I've been hearing since I've been, 16, 17 years old. And it was like, wow, like we came up on the other side. But I think a big thing with that though that we did was we live below our means. Like we also didn't get a house that was like the most expensive to the maximum, hard for us to take care of. We just said, you know what, we got a nice house, only 2 of us. If we expand the family, Lord willing, we'll expand the family. But as that happens, we will still be okay. And so I think those choices from the beginning, even though I rushed into getting the house, I didn't rush to get no $500,000 house because that would have been like way too much. I still tried to use some good sound principles. And, I think God was, he was good to us for that. So yeah.
Come on.
I even like just going back to with your budget. You said it was tight, but you still have room to breathe. And then by you creating that budget or plan or whatever people want to call it, because people like sometimes cringe when they hear
right.
Like
Like her.
Right?
She cringes.
But now
she
I'm
cool
good.
now. She saw what it could do.
Yeah.
Well, she didn't like it, but when we did what we did, she's like, oh, okay, I'm with that.
Yeah, but it's
that.
like you create it, you can control it. And then what was even awesome, you said at the end of the month, you were like, we have more money than we even thought and planned from our perspective of what we would have. So let's try to be even more aggressive.
Correct.
Put more towards, paying off our mortgage. Or, or maybe if for other people, if they had other types of debt, let's put it towards, knocking that down. So your budget helped you realize and free up essentially kind of more money that was there. And like you said, you didn't change your job. You may have got a pay increase year over year or whatever, right? But there was nothing significant in the income you were bringing in, but it was you putting together a plan and sticking to it.
Right.
Right.
Hey,
that's the thing.
Sticking to it.
The sticking to it, but that's me. Like that's me. I'm like a big planner and execute. Like I love doing that kind of stuff. She's more like idea. She can get an idea and she'll look at me like, oh, and then if she tell me the idea, it's like, you might as well not tell me, because I'm gonna start trying to figure out, okay, how can we, figure out and do it. I think another thing with the budget that was super helpful, as you pointed out, as you talked about, Talisha, but I think something that's super important was something I did to show her I was serious was like, we always have something in the budget. It's like spending money. So we allocate a certain amount of money for each other. So she could have whatever amount of money, I could have whatever amount of money. It's typically the same. What I used to do was, so we could hit like kind of that goal, I used to take less money from my spending money and give her more. And so I think that for me, I was just trying to show her, look, I'm serious about trying to do it. I'm not just like, we're going to try and do it today, and then next month we really not going to try. I'm like, no, I'm serious. So if I got to take less money so we can get to the goal, I'm okay with that. And I think that helped. And you could talk about if it did or if it didn't, honey. But I think that helped to show her like, oh, no, he's really serious about this. Like, he's not playing around.
It was like, I'll learn how to cut my hair at the house.
Right, whatever, right.
My hair done.
Right.
All of that.
Whatever, whatever it is. But again, to me, that's that marriage. That's that one. Like, so it's like, it's no such thing as, well, I think in marriage, it's not, it's a oneness that comes with it. And it's hard to learn. It could take 50 years to learn, like, it's a oneness that comes with it. And we still working on that. You know what I'm saying? If y'all saw us yesterday, 2 days ago, y'all would have been like, oneness, what's that? You know what I'm saying? But, that's what it is. Y'all married people, y'all know what it is.
We know.
So I don't want people looking at this thing like, oh, they got it all good. No, nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is like, when that oneness comes, it's like, even if she's getting more, like people could look at it like, oh, she's getting more. But I don't look at it like that. It's like, what, you miss my wife. So if she's winning, I'm winning. You know what I'm saying? If she's losing, I'm losing. No matter, even if I got more on my side, if she's losing, there's an issue there, no matter what. And so it kind of helped to really solidify those types of things for me as we were going through that journey.
Yeah, and it did help. It did help that spending, or I would suggest if you are trying to get out of debt, but that spending money for each person, it helps not feel, it's like if I want to go get a McFlurry, I can go get a McFlurry. Like, I'm just saying, like, I don't have to be like, right. Like, the budget is not so like, I can't do this, so it really did help. And I do want to add though, for us, it was important that we tithe. So I thought that was a major thing. Like, we tithe the whole time. By God's grace, we, and I think it's really important. That was an important aspect.
Hold on, you gotta run that back. Just like I'm a like huge proponent of like tithing. Like, I'm afraid not to at this point, because
that's my better half right here. That's my better half.
So we right here.
Anything, y'all. Like, we get birthday money in, we tithe. We get,
this is the truth. For our wedding, all the gifts that we got for our wedding, we tithed on that, because people get gift cards and all that kind of stuff. She was like, no, honey, we cannot do. I said, okay, honey, we can tithe on this. So, but that's what, I think that's what God just put on her, and then it definitely rubbed off on me. I can tell you that. So
that's good. That's good.
That was important.
So I want to acknowledge something, because Nick, when you shared it, some time back, man, it was powerful. You got an opportunity to talk to one of the most well-known financial gurus. We follow, you guys follow. You got a chance to be on a call with him. You know what I'm saying? It was a beautiful thing. So tell the people about your call and who it was with.
Yeah, so we went, so my birthday's in May, and so I like to travel a little bit. So since we got out in March, I know we got that time. See, that's why we always been there. Since MS&T, it was just, I should talk about the first time I met her. No, but I know, Rowland. But I should talk about the first time I met her. We'll say that for another time. It was really fun. We'll say it for another time. But anyway, so I wanted to go and do a debt-free scream on the Dave Ramsey show, and so we ended up getting we were able to. So we took a trip to Nashville. We got to go and kind of talk about our story. It was real quick, but it was really cool to do, because for me, it was like a little vacation time. It was kind of like the cap on the end of the goal on what we were able to do. I think I was a little nervous. I know she was super nervous. She didn't even really want to talk.
I didn't really talk that much, I feel like.
So you can go and catch the video. It's on our YouTube channel. You can just Google just F.O.F coaching, and you can see it. It should be on the front page. You can check it out. The whole thing is on there. And we talk about the story a little bit, not as in depth of here, not as in depth as we did here, but we talk a little bit about the story. I know she was like super. No, she didn't even want to talk. And you know what's funny is on YouTube, if you go to our channel and you check it out, there's somebody makes a comment. They're like, I can't stand. They don't want women to talk and do all this and da da da. They had this crazy comment. You know, you're gonna get that stuff. But when we read it, we looked at each other like, I was like, but you didn't even want to talk. I was like, no, I didn't want to say nothing.
Tell people what is a Dave Ramsey scream, like, just so people kind of get a feel.
Yeah. So pretty much as when people go in there and do their debt-free scream, it's people who get out of debt, whether it's pay off their house, pay off their credit cards, pay off their car, whatever it is. When they get out of all their debt and maybe they only have the house left, they'll go on there. They'll talk about their story, their journey with his program, Financial Peace, and all that. And then they get to do I'm debt free. They just scream I'm debt free, you know, when they get to do that. And so that's really what it's all about. So it was cool to be able to go on there and kind of experience, because that's something that helped us to get through there, especially listening to that and being encouraged by it.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that goes along with that is when you're doing something like this, and y'all may know too, like everybody around you be like, y'all crazy. Like they don't, not everybody, but some people around you gonna be like, y'all crazy. Why are y'all doing that? It doesn't help. They can't see it, but sometimes when God gives you something, nobody else could see what you could see. You know what I'm saying? And nobody else can get it. And even for us, I didn't see the full reason why we had to do what we had to do until afterward. I think until afterward was really when I saw like, oh, this is why we had to go ahead and get out of debt. So yeah.
No, that's real good, man. Congratulations again.
And then it was like, I mean, Nick, your background's not in finance, right?
No, not at all.
No, I mean, like you said, you can add.
I can add. I'm good. I'm cool with numbers. You know what I'm saying? I can add. I could do that. You know what I'm saying? But no, my background is engineering, so I'm an engineer. That's what we all met. You know, and engineer. My wife's background is nursing. You know, so she's nursing. And so, and it's funny, and you probably don't even remember this, Kylie, but one of the reasons, so there's pivotal points in my life for me to be like a saver and stuff like that. One of those points had to do with Kylie. So one time, it was my first time I got an internship. This was in 2007. It was at Sprint. And I remember before the school year was over, you was like, oh, Nick, you got an internship? I was like, yeah. You was like, look, man, save your money. And I was like, well, what you mean? You was like, no, save your money. And I was like, but you was like, you just kept saying that repeatedly. And that like is in my head, even to this day, of you keep saying, save your money. And you explained to me, you was like, look, man, you're going to be making money that you've never made before. It wasn't like it was a whole bunch of money either, but from me at the time in my life, that was like, whoa, this is a lot of money, if that makes sense. Yeah. But you was like, you've never made this type of money before. And so he was like, if anything, save it. So even throughout college, like I would be a saver. I would continue to do that. We got some stories on our YouTube channel that talk about like mistakes I made or different things that we've done. And some of those were in college early on, but like nothing too catastrophic. But just hearing those words from you, Kylie, was like a big thing for me. Wow. And you was older, so you was like a big homie to me. So it was like, all right, so I'm gonna listen. You obviously doing some good things with yourself. You wasn't out here just being crazy, ridiculous. So it was like, okay, somebody I should listen to, you know, because you gotta be mindful of who you take advice from. You can't just listen to everybody. And so you gotta look at their walk. You gotta look how do they carry themselves. And so you were a person who did carry yourself well enough for me to listen to, at least. You know what I'm saying? So
hey, I'm glad I gave you some sound advice, Doc. Yeah, I probably was talking to myself in 2006.
Exactly.
I had an internship or co-op, and I'm away from school 6 to 8 months, and I didn't really do that.
Yeah.
And so if I saw another young person who I thought was fantastic and who had an opportunity, I didn't want them to squander it like I did. And so I was really giving you something that I wish somebody would have gave me. And probably, you know, people probably gave me that, but you know, I was young and dumb.
You be like, Mama, I made it.
Yeah,
right. I got rims on the car now, you know what I'm saying? I got the beats in the back. I'm good now, you know.
So it worked out for you, and it's good, right? You know what I mean? Like that was really my heart. I just didn't want you to experience what I experienced because we should go before you. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's about. We, same fraternity, brotherhood. We should learn from the older generations. So
exactly.
I'm glad it worked out for you, Doc.
Yeah, it
now
did, man.
45% though.
No.
20 is cool.
Well, listen, man. From my little business acumen that I have, sir, I don't believe there was no contract. There was no agreement. That was just particular advice from one person to another. And so, if that's the case, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe my people can get with your people. You know what I'm saying? Maybe,
All good. So y'all then got this house.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got it paid off.
Yep.
Y'all screamed a little bit with Dave Ramsey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But early in the story, you were trying to buy this rental property.
Yes.
So did we buy the rental property yet? What we have with the rental property?
So it's funny because as I was praying and I was going through that story, I think that God told me, he didn't say no, he just said wait. So now we're working on trying to develop and get a rental property. So hopefully sometime next year, the Lord say the same, we'll be on that wavelength to be able to do it. We had some interesting things happen. I don't know, honey, if we could share, if you want me to share just a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine.
So just a little bit.
No, you're fine.
Just a little bit. We got a little bit of time left, so we'll do a little bit. So after we got out of debt, a couple months afterward, my wife started having some health issues. And so with those health issues, it was best for her not to work. And so she didn't work for almost 2 years almost. But like I said, when we got out of debt, I didn't even see the real reason why that needed to happen. So when my wife got to take those 2 years, it didn't affect us. It didn't impact us from a financial standpoint like that. She really had time to get her health together to do all that. Sometimes we sit back.
Hold on, Nick. You I love this.
Yeah.
This is where our stories overlap, right? Obedience is better than sacrifice.
Yes, sir.
Right? Mm-hmm. Wherever you got your word from, sounds like you got the word from God. Like we need to get to debt. We need to pay this house off very early.
Yes.
Right. Your wife got that same message. Y'all became like on one accord, and it happened.
Right.
Not knowing that this story was going to lead to her not being able to work.
Exactly.
So what if the stresses of life didn't allow you to pay off that debt? Allow her to continue to work through her health concerns.
Yep.
That's huge, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like I didn't know we was gonna become entrepreneurs.
Right.
Yeah.
It just really happened.
Like going from 2 engineering incomes down to 1.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
we wouldn't have been able to do that.
No.
Yeah.
That we had.
Yeah.
So
like this is huge. It's like it's man, like people, y'all gotta hear this. This is really good.
Like we focused on obviously getting out of debt.
Yes.
But once you get out of debt, you have no idea what it prepares you for.
Exactly.
Right.
And
you gotta keep going with the story. Like I just
but it was that, and so it was those 2 years. Like we'll talk about. Like it was stressful already because just from a relational standpoint with us, that was a lot for us to have to go through. But again, when adversity strikes, that's what makes you stronger. That's what makes the bond bigger. Yeah. Now we had those issues with her health, our relational issues, how we felt, things to talk out, and we're going to take a mountain of debt and pour it on top of that from a financial perspective. It would make it so much more difficult. I'm not saying that everything would have just, it's people that sometimes think, oh, it's all better with money. If you got the money, everything's cool. That's not the case. The money's not going to make her just magically be like, oh, I'm better now. So it was one of those things that I was like, wow, like, Lord, I see what you were doing for us in that time period. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, I didn't know that we were going to go through that.
It amazes me because nothing can prepare you for it. Because I didn't know I was going to be having no health problems. Nobody could have told me. It wasn't even a thought in my mind. And for that to happen and being able, God taking care of us through that period of not working, it's just like, God, I see what you was doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. But again, it was just one of those things that again, just when you think from a financial perspective, especially for married people, it's like, why try and live off of both incomes? Like, just try and live off of one income, because you don't know what's going to happen. Make sure you save up for a rainy day. Make sure you're budgeting. Like, these are just sound principles, things that, you know, I feel like teach us in the word, but you got to go look and find it, because everybody doesn't necessarily talk about these things so openly. And the same thing, like you told me, Kylie, like, hey, save your money for that kind of newer generation. I feel like sometimes with us and our people, and just people in general, but our people specifically, because I know our people more, is that we don't like to pass those things down to one another. You know what I'm saying? We don't like to tell each other or help each other out, be like, hey, man, you don't want to make that move in a way that's not condescending. You know what I'm saying? In a way that's not trying to be over somebody, but in a way that they're going to listen and be, you know, people going to take it in and be like, okay, I see why. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that we should always look to try and help. But then at the same time, when you look to try and help, you can't be one of those people who always look for a handout either. So it's like, you got to find the right balance, you know, in my opinion. So
No, this is good.
That's huge.
Yeah. I
So,
like, man, that was a critical part of our life, especially early on in marriage.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, like her mama, like, you quitting this job. Like, you know, people that, you know, say help me through college, like, you doing what?
But as long, I mean, there were so many, and you guys know, there were so many naysayers and just people who were just like, what? Like, no.
But you know something else too? It's not even that people are naysayers necessarily. Like, they're not even trying to be naysayers. It's just like, in their mind, they're like, why would you do that? Like, or like, why would that happen? Or on that, like, they'll say things that's like, that was kind of like her, but they're not even trying to be hurtful. They're just trying to be like, it doesn't register. Like, I don't get it. And so sometimes, like, making that distinction, it took me a while to make that distinction. Like, these people really do love us. They are our friends, and they are our family. It's just that for them, it's like, that don't, like, why would you do that? You seem like you got a good thing going. But again, like I said, what God has for you is for you, you know, and people can't always see that. And that can be difficult to overcome that, because when you don't necessarily, I'm not gonna say they're not the right people around you. It's just that they don't get it. They can't see it. And they've never been there before. Awesome.
But
so that's hard
too, though, because like as Alicia said earlier, like, I grew up hearing you're always gonna owe somebody. You're always, you thought, right, you're always gonna have a mortgage. Like, that's just a normal payment, right? Like, you include that in your budget.
Exactly.
You have a line item for your mortgage, for your car, and it was like, no, we can pay off cars. Like, what? We don't have to keep buying new cars just to have we can pay off our mortgage. Like, and so, Nick, to your point, some of the feedback is not intentionally meant to be negative, but it's based on what they know, what they've experienced, what they've been told, how they live. And it's like, why? Like, it's okay to have a mortgage. That's a good debt.
Right.
I hear you, but for me and mine, we don't want to have to, you know, have that as a line item on our budget long term.
There you go. There you go.
Intent doesn't equal impact either. Right? They intend to say and do the right things, but it don't also equal the impact that, you know.
I agree.
At the end of the day, as long as you two are on one accord, which you were, then that's all that matters.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's
that
what
helped. Yeah, that was it.
that's one of my favorite parts about marriage, is that nobody gets to really tell you how to be married. You know what I'm saying? And to me, as long as God is okay with it and me and her is okay with it, you know, when we get children, all that kind of stuff, it don't really matter. As long as the three of us on one page, God and us two, we good. It don't matter what anybody else has to say about it. And well, she know me, I'm not gonna care. Oh my God.
They special, Celicia. They are special. They special, but I couldn't live without it. So you got healthy, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all passed that. And now y'all, I don't know, maybe along the way, y'all begin to share your story through your business. Tell people what, you know what I mean, what you do, how you are helping a ton of people. Spill the beans.
So the big thing that we do, I'm a financial coach. And so what I do is do some presentations. I also coach people, one-on-one coaching. Just really sit them down. We could do everything virtual now, especially with COVID and all that stuff going on. really trying to understand what their financial goals, where they want to be, and then come up with a plan and then have that accountability with them from session to session to session. So I like to do about 3 sessions with people. I've definitely helped people so far at least pay about $8,000 off. Just one of my clients pay about almost $8,000 off in about 3 months or so of debt. That's what they're looking to do. And so it's been fun. It's been a weird journey because I started the business and then Shalice had some issues, but then I went back to school, got my MBA. So that kind of held it a little bit. Now I'm out of school. Then I was doing a lot of YouTube videos, which we still do. So we do that. Just kind of some good information. Some of our experiences on there. Some of our stories are on there. Again, that's F.O.F coaching or F.O.F coaching. F.O.F Financial Coaching LLC. You can look either one of those up on YouTube. I don't even know the name of my company.
I was gonna say what it stands for.
Right.
F.O.F stands for.
So the F.O.F stands for faith over fear. Because with our story, it just took a lot of faith, and we just couldn't be fear. We couldn't let fear win because there was a lot of things, a lot of unknowns, and a lot of times with finances, rather helping people come up with their budget, it's a lot of fear to it because people may not know what's going on with their money. So it's fear, like, oh, maybe I don't have enough, or maybe I'm doing bad. There's shame that comes with it. It's a lot of emotional items, and so when we're talking about finances, even in this discussion, we're not talking a lot about money. Money is not the big thing. It's a lot to do with your personality, who you are, your behavior, and then the money part is a little bit of the easier part. That's just a calculator and doing some math. You know what I'm saying? That's not that bad. Go ahead.
We just had an alarm go off.
Hey, this what happens, baby.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
what of it?
It's all good. But I think so that's really what my goal is, to help as many people as possible to reach their financial goals. Now, one thing about me, I'm not a debt person. I've never really been. I always thought it was dumb. You had to be in the debt in order to live your life. And so obviously you don't. I learned you don't have to do that. And so I'm not big on debt. I do agree that there is more than one way to build wealth. But I believe, at least for us, that financial freedom, to get to financial freedom, being debt-free is a great way to approach it. Like, some people don't look at it that way, but I do. And so I'm big on helping people to become debt-free and then to build wealth. And so that's kind of what my coaching style comes from. It comes from the Word of God as well. And like I said, I have an MBA. I've taken all types of training classes and stuff like that.
Give your pedigree. What's your pedigree, Doc? And I'm an engineer too, so I
got. I got. Do it there. Okay. So no, but and I've taken training courses and stuff like that because I take it seriously. I like reading financial, but like I stay on top of it because I think it's very important. And I also want people to know the big thing, especially when I work with them, is it's really about them making a decision on what they want to do. I'm just here to guide and to coach, but it's really up to them to make a decision on what they want to do. And so that's a big one. I know I have, maybe we'll put that out on our channel, but I got a presentation coming up in February for a class that I'm going back to, a class I took as an MBA student. Maybe I'll put that up. We'll see if I can put that up or not. But just giving presentations and doing things like that because I enjoy doing it and I just want to see people do better. Now, there's a cost associated with it, but the big reason why I charge is because I want people to make sure they have skin in the game. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get rich from doing coaching because it's just one-on-one coaching. It's hard to expand the business from there. I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see what the Lord says. But just from that one-on-one coaching, it's hard to get rich off of. But at the same time, it's like, I just want to make sure you got skin in the game. You're just not like, oh, okay, I'm taking this information, it's free, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people just like whatever. But when people are serious, a lot of times we put our money where our mouth is. You know what I'm saying? And so that's part of that. So.
No, I can see in the background that you got the relationship goals, Michael.
Yeah.
You got the Stephen Covey.
He wears glasses.
Yeah, I only got my
glasses.
Hey, so the guy is educated, y'all. He's training himself. Both of them.
That's a good book. We read that.
Fantastic couple, man. We are just so proud of y'all, Nick and Shalicia, and we just hope that you guys get all the desires of your heart. And we just, glad to be on the journey with you and witness the greatness that's happening in your lives.
Yeah.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Well, hey, we appreciate it, man. Like I said, God is good. I mean, that's our big thing. Is God is without God, it just wouldn't have been. It's so many things that happened to us on this journey that we know was God sent. You know, and looking back on it, we know that. So that's a big thing. I mean, God is good. We appreciate you all having us on to even consider us, to even be like, hey, you know what? We want y'all on SpenDebt. You know, because what you all do, I think, is important because it at least will get the ball rolling. You know what I'm saying? It'll get people started. Like, at least you get started, because no matter what, I don't care how many rental properties you have. I don't care how much whatever you have. When you're in debt, it's going to take a bite out your net worth. And I don't think people get that. And so no matter what it is, anything that's going to start making that net worth a little bit higher, and what you all company does at SpenDebt, you all do that. You all help to get that net worth higher, because you're eating away, chipping away, and getting that debt. And if we could, even if you could just get out of debt and do nothing else from there, that's a good start. It's a great start.
Instant pay increase.
It is. Because I look at debt like you're in a hole. You know what I'm saying? Like you're in a hole. And so when you dig yourself out of debt, it's great, but you just got back to the ground level. So now you got to start building the foundation. Like, you still have work to do to get up there, but I think people's trying to start build the foundation while they're in the hole. And it's like, look, it's a hard thing to do. It's very difficult to do. So, you know.
for anybody out there who wants to join Nick and his coaching consultations, look, you'll get SpenDebt for free. So Nick, you know what I'm saying, for those 3 months they work with you, you know, for you know, anybody, they can get SpenDebt for free. You just, you know what I'm saying, for those 3 months, they get it for free. So you just let us know. We'll be more than happy to, you know, assist along that journey, because we want you to be successful. We want your clients to be successful. At the end of the day, we want to help people, because we know what it feels like, you know what I'm saying, to be debt free. And so we want to get other people there, because it's going to unlock so many different things.
Yes.
You can, you know, so you quit your job, you can go be an entrepreneur, you can go yourself about a rental property.
Opens up so many doors.
Yeah, so many doors. Yeah. So it's on us. So for your clients, you know what I'm saying, like, we got you.
Well, we appreciate it. So people, if y'all seeing this, you could email me at FOFFcoaching@gmail.com, and we can put some things together. And I mean, I think that's a great thing to give out. And you heard it from the horse's mouth. You know, it's not me just saying it. It's them. That's their business, their company. You know what I'm saying? So we appreciate that you would do something like that, you know, for our clients. We definitely do, for sure.
Indeed.
Yes. I don't have anything else. This has been awesome.
We love y'all.
Yes.
Love you too.
Thank y'all for having us. And until hopefully we do this again sometime.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, sir.
Of course.